$5. That's what the meal shop's all about. Ralph Avenue at Avenue J in Brooklyn.
Oh my God, we're back again. It is the 3-on-1 podcast. It is an audio, but somehow still video experience. I am Matt Ryan, and I'm joined again, and it makes me so happy to see these two on this Zoom screen. That voice you heard, he's blocking the line. He is Big Rob Fabian, a.k.a. Bachata Bob, joining us in the chat. It's also Corey Handsome on the Discord machine, and also joining me, he's my quarterback, and he's got the feathered hair, he's got the layered look, the father of many, the man making the concision, Corey Hammond. Boys, it has been 3 to 4 months since we have done a podcast together, and I have to say, it has been too long, and we have not said enough. And all of our children are running around out here wilding. So I feel like we just have to show people what a podcast actually is. But Corey's been on a press run. Rob's going viral. I'm eating sandwiches. So you know things are good. But guys, we are almost 2 months away. We are under 3 months from the start of the 10th season of the A7FL. And we're going to have some news for you. That's right, we have a news segment now. We're going to be bringing you some hot takes, and also the rumor mill is booming, and we'll be going through that and some stuff that Rob has been hearing, and we can validate that things are transpiring in the A7FL. But guys, Corey, I'll start with you. How does it feel to be back?
Well, as we have this new video experience, I'm gonna do my ASMR.
Please don't.
Right, like we've been trying to have some kind of media experience to the point where I'm doing, post fall A7 recap shows from 1 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. I just got off the Undisputed Cincy podcast. Shout outs to Brent Smothers and my guy Dale Hathaway. We got to get this hot take stuff out, because I can't talk politics anymore. My wife is going to kill me.
But Rob, before we go down that road, how does it feel to be back? We have not spoken outside of like a few phone conversations and when you decide to answer your texts since September.
1900 on the Discord. The little bubble, 1900.
Your
confirmed.
Me and Corey's voice has been prevalent in A7FL Nevada, Ohio. We've been talking with these other podcasts, and I was out in Vegas for the start of Fall Brawl. What is up with you, and what have you been seeing before we head into the news?
I've kind of been, hi guys, great to be back.
Hi.
I've kind of been like underground with it. Like I've been keeping my ear closer to the quote unquote streets of it all in New Jersey anyway. I can't really confirm things that are going on in Ohio or Vegas or anywhere else besides New Jersey. I live here, so it's like I'm kind of keeping it close to home and kind of trying to catch what the buzz is in the Northeast, honestly. And that's about it. And, I keep a very low profile online. You guys know that. I don't say too much.
I was just on the All-Pro Jaffos, and Insomniacs guys were asking me, Rob, saying that there's rumors that they're hearing that big old Rob Fabian's suiting up for 2024. How incorrect are those guys?
No, I heard that same rumor. I can't deny that, but I can't accept
it. You guys are going to leave me alone.
I'm joking,
bro.
No,
we would never.
Nowhere. I'm not going nowhere. Listen, I'm gonna look good, but I'm not playing shit. I can't, bro. It's over. He didn't say that, did he? You know what? Continuing.
He did. I heard there's actually a great free agent that the Schno Tribe are looking at named Zach Morgan at wide receiver. It'll be very interesting to see if he gets picked up. But, guys, we did talk about some new things on the show. We have actual segments now because we're a show, and we're going to try to act like a show. And what other shows don't have news segments? So, Corey, pick up the script. I said pick it up. Pick it up!
Well, you're first.
Teletype. I teletype, all right.
Welcome back to the 3-on-1.
There's that chemistry that everybody talks
Oh
about.
yeah.
That unbeatable fucking chemistry. It's time for the news. First up, the defending A7FL national champion Insomniacs remained undefeated this past weekend in Nevada's second annual Fall Brawl tournament with a 25-point win over the now second-seeded Sickwitted. After the game, Sin City Chaos defensive coordinator Brent Smothers was overheard saying that if the offense knew what it was doing, their defense wouldn't be exhausted by the start of the fourth quarter, while he was trying to tie his offensive coordinator to the local railroad tracks.
And speaking of throwing guys either on tracks or under buses, the Western Conference runners-up in the Sin City Chaos did make a significant coaching change in the offseason, firing Skylar Hurd after only one season as the offensive coordinator. Now, they are replacing him with a name Kyle Hogan. I just was talking to Brent Smothers, and he said that he has some arena experience and is a local high school football coach. But what they cannot fix is the lack of talent. And if they're going to try not to lose by 50, they're going to have to figure out something other than Keno Thomas running around like a chicken with his head cut off.
He's probably going to quit too.
With free agency and rumors abound in the A7FL heading into Season 10, the Las Vegas Pit Bosses shocked many by being the first to announce a cross-country pickup for their club. Jordan Davidson, known as some by Vanilla Vic and by us as Milk, who helmed the winless Olatangi Volcanoes in the 2023 campaign, is making the move cross-country. And while many, including my co-host, believe that he will not see the spoils of victory out in the desert, and that he will curdle underneath the pressure and be pasteurized by opposing defenses, this anchor believes anyone has a 2% chance up to half and half to be a success in this league. Corey?
And finally, off his star-making performance at the 2023 National Championship, Darius, better known as Logo Davis, has signed with the Nashville Nighthawks of the American Flag Football League. The dynamic athlete Davis, who made his bones traveling the nation alongside players like Mark Bagway and former All-Pro Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, is now taking his talents to Tennessee. Our best of luck to Logo as he continues to show to the A7FL community why this league is a breeding ground for the next generation of athletes in pro football.
And that's the end of the news. Rob, what's your take on some of the news we heard out there? I saw your
will
reaction
start
during our third story.
Yeah, we'll start with the milk thing. Bums going to bums makes no sense to me. Hey guys, we're back. Hi, I know you miss me. I don't see the purpose. Like, these guys are like jumping ship to go cross country to do what? Make your state relevant, man. Stay in Ohio and do what Ohio people do.
But Rob, what you're missing is he was chased out of Olentangy, right? He was not invited to play with the Crush. The Heist wanted nothing to do with that movie.
So the
Chaos,
said,
for sure.
So the pit boss just said, no one wants him, but we do. So there's not enough talent in Vegas.
But let's be clear.
Come on now.
The pit bosses in the spring might be the alienators of the Vegas Fall. And what we've seen from the alienators is that Quentin Ariarty, a guy that we liked when he was the quarterback for the Insomniacs in the fall before they became a super team, Derek.
Yeah, super team.
Quentin Ariarty might be the pit boss's starting quarterback in the spring. So at a minimum, whether it's 2%, 1%, or vitamin A and D added, Jordan Davidson better bring his vitamin A game if he's going to even want a chance to start for the 0-7 pit bosses out in the Vegas division. With
Corey's going to be nice and professional. It's a dumb pickup. I mean, if Ohio didn't want you, your best bet was to go start a brand new team. I don't think the pit bosses are going to even use you. These guys don't have any camaraderie with you. Like, I don't know. You're just making the trip for nothing, if you ask me.
Well, hey, maybe that, remember that hostage call that we got earlier in season 2 of the 3-on-1 where somebody was talking about Jordan Davidson's bringing an NFL wide receiver, but it sounded like somebody was like literally being held in a basement against their will.
I may or may not be bringing a former NFL wide receiver with me to the A7FL.
Well, maybe the person flying that person out there is the wide receiver. So that could be news, but likely not. Again, not vanilla.
Most news for me comes from when we're talking about winners. So when we get to the Insomniacs, I'll start talking again.
But Rob, have you been watching? Speaking of the Insomniacs, have you been watching any of Fall? I saw you in the chat
Of
this
course.
past Sunday.
Now, if I haven't been watching a lot of the fall, but if you think I was gonna miss the Insomniacs last game, you're super mistaken. I wouldn't miss that game for nothing because it was the big game. It was the game to determine who's number one and who's number two. And without even watching enough of the fall, I easily knew the Insomniacs would be the number one team when it's all said and done. These guys are they're the reigning champs. Unless all these other guys went and picked up linemen, picked up receivers, and figured out how to play offense, I don't see anybody knocking them off in Vegas. I don't see who's better than the Insomniacs in Vegas
Well, in the
at
last two
all.
games, that we've seen Sickwood and Insomniacs, the first half, Sickwood's been pretty competitive. Now, they're maybe like a little bit premature in their evacuation of being on the team, but if they get maybe like, I don't know, a gas station pill, they might be able to hang for the full 4 quarters.
If they get a what?
A gas station pill. Maybe
Gas
that's
station
that's
pill.
the
That's the episode title.
Corey.
We're back, baby. We're back. You
Corey.
wanted it. Everybody's like, "Where's the
Corey.
3-on-1? Why aren't you guys doing a podcast? Why don't you do it for free on YouTube? Oh, this content deserves money. God damn it!" So you know how you do that? You go to tinyurl.com/A7FL merch.
Listen, man. Corey knows my slogan. That's why he cleaned it up a little bit at the end. Football is 4 quarters. If you can't last the 4 quarters, pack it up. And if these guys could only hang for a half, then they'll never be better than the second half of the Insomniacs anyway. So again, conversation. I mean, I like the Insomniacs third team. They put in the 4th quarter. They look better than Sick with it at times.
Well,
so
have
I
you
don't
seen
know.
have you seen our guy and your MVP of the championship, Quincy Burts, has been getting his shot at quarterback for the Insomniacs in the fall.
I don't like talking about fall. You know that, right?
Fails. He's
You
failed
make
every
me-
single time. It's Zach
you make me
Luciano,
talk
who is
about
now
fall.
the backup quarterback for Scooter in an Insomniacs uniform. So keep on kicking and keep on playing that clutch defensive end just to get the picks and the big time plays in the championship. Q Burts, you are a legend, and don't let anyone ever take that away from you. But what you
Indeed,
aren't is an effective A7FL quarterback, and that's been
quarterback,
proven out.
and that was
Play in
always
and
my
play out.
stance. That was always my stance last season on the show. Guys are like, Q, man, you don't know Q, man, he's amazing. I'm like, he might be a good football player, but he's not a good A7FL quarterback. And I'm going to stand on that. If he's been that bad in the fall, which is not, I don't think fall counts, but, I do respect the fall that Vegas is having for sure, because it got very competitive, and I only expect competition from the best team. So right now, the best 2 teams are who? Stick with it and Insomniacs?
Yeah.
Who's the third closest? Who are those guys?
Well, it's right now the Outlaws and the Alliance are in the 3 spot and the 4th spot.
Okay.
Well, the
the
Outlaws
Alienated
are
below
the
them.
Trey and Tone experiment, and they also got
Yeah.
Darnell Richardson and Savion Cunningham and a bunch of guys, and they look to be relatively competitive. But again, when they played the Insomniacs, they weren't able to kind of play the full game to the level that they were looking for. And then the Alliance are the Scooby-Doo, pull off the mask. That's the Force in general. And I just got off the phone earlier today with Chris Vera talking about Deion Fox, and he's been suffering, the quarterback that's going to take over for Rock Briscoe, who is my favorite quarterback, but since he's an offensive coordinator now, because I guess he's too old, it's now maybe me and Snoop are the oldest quarterbacks, so maybe I have to say that Snoop for the Hunters is my favorite. But Deion Fox is most likely, barring injury or something weird, taking over the quarterback position for the Force, and this has been the fall that he's, was supposed to be his, coming out party. And
How's he
just
look?
the Alliance in their last game in a blowout had 55 yards passing. So we know that he's athletic and can run. We'll see if he can run an offense when the springtime comes and the Force are once again part of our league, because they take off every fall, even though they probably should start involving themselves as a full squad so that they can get better, but I digress.
Well, speaking of making decisions for the spring, we've all been wondering for months, some would say since before the championship game, since a night in front of the Asbury Park Stadium where there was a 45-minute conversation about a myriad of things. Rob, 5 minutes in, was like, I'm going home, fuck y'all. But it's, where is our friend Corey Hammond going to be playing in 2024? Now, both me and Rob have tried to entice Corey to stay for all 3 games during the season, offering him the nicer chair, getting him the energy drinks he likes.
We got him last season, and I thought that was going to help us out, but looks like I was wrong.
We were gonna get him a chastity belt, but that there's just no way.
Backfired.
That ship sailed.
But Corey will be playing again, and Corey, you've had a lot of options. We were at the Snow Tribe workout together. You've had conversations with people. I've heard people wanting you to go to Ohio, but I don't think you're going to be able to drive from Cincinnati and come back to do the 7 o'clock. So,
wait, before he announces where, you know what? Announce where you're going, and then I'll ask you what I need to ask you.
Fair. But let Matt finish with his lead up, because
Yeah,
I feel like the longer this lead up gets, the more important seeming it sounds, even though most people are like, come on.
So let's go through the teams that are out of the running. Obviously, any of the teams in Florida, Ohio, Nevada, Los Angeles,
I'm sure.
Cincinnati. So it comes down to basically the Northeast. We know that the BIC are set at quarterback. We don't know what Quattro.
See, but that's what my problem was. That right there.
Well, Rob knows that behind the scenes in 2023.
Why not go to BIC?
I'm sorry?
Why not go to BIC, Corey?
Well, you know that in 2021 and in 2022, I had conversations with our great friend Ken Stansbury about what that might look like.
Right.
But you both know me, and knowing me have I ever been the guy? And I just recently was on the All Pro Jaffos wearing my Warriors jersey that says WOE, Warriors over everything, when I used to say, don't join the top teams, built from the bottom, like it was like my mission statement. But you knowing me, do you think I would sit comfortably, getting like maybe one drive a game or coming in garbage time and then winning a championship with a team that I'm not the guy?
You want me to really answer that?
Is that who I am?
No. You would sit comfortably because your ass wouldn't be sacked 40 times a game.
Corey, take your The Departed Oscar. Like you've earned it, buddy. Like you can be the legend who joins up. You could be the big shot Rob. You could be that.
Look at it like this. Terry Codrington, and these are facts. It's not me making shit up. Terry Codrington is a corner and would love to play the position if they had with the line BIC has. You wouldn't have to worry about running, sir. Terry Codrington doesn't mind playing corner. Why would he mind?
You know that I love the wide receiving core, the offensive line, the quarterback, the coach, the GM, the owner. You know I love BIC. BIC will always be family. When my wife still tells me to go back to BIC. But as you know, speaking of the departed, I'm and Boston, right? I'll say this. Last year on an 0-17 with 7 guys that had to drive a total of 12 hours to be a part of our league, right? Mm-hmm. 6 guys that were cast-offs from the Snow Tribe that didn't make their roster, and no one was saying that they were world beaters. And 2 other guys that had literally not ever played football before in their lives. My team, in a division that is hard to play against, started the year off by getting our asses kicked by the Animals by 60-plus points, continued to fight to the point where when we played BIC, Sterry Codrington came to us personally and congratulated my team, not me because I didn't deserve it, but my team on the grit and the courage that it takes to step up in the face of adversity and to keep fighting like we did. And the last game of the season, even though all of those guys could have quit at every single moment of that really tough season, we did lose to the Animals, the 4th seed, and we only lost to them by 14 points. And I think that growth and that journey and that level of dedication and the will to continue on proves a lot more than, let's say, guys like Eric Schuford, Munchie, who I was just in a long argument with the Insomniacs, who loves saying that his friends are just better after losing it as a member of the Kryptonite in the fall championship, helped build the super team in the Insomniacs so that he didn't have to face adversity ever again, played, and we'll talk about this later, a Vegas division in which the Insomniacs walked onto every field and they were automatically better. I think it takes a lot more courage, grit, and determination and football integrity to do what those the Boston guys did than it takes for, let's say, a Munchie, who's a great football player and one of the best wide receivers in our league, but who joins up with the rest of the best players in the Vegas division just to make sure that he doesn't ever have to try a little bit harder than he usually does. And I'll take that losing season over joining up with Sterry Codrington, a loaded BIC team, and rightfully so because they're great, specifically this season. I love playing football, but I don't love what some would say is bandwagon jumping, and others would say is a word that starts with D, riding to a championship. And take that as you want, but let me just in memoriam say that those Boston guys went through a lot more adversity, a lot more, and showed a lot more toughness than what we see from the champion team that didn't organically build from that kryptonite loss, and then now they're
Come on, Corey. I wouldn't
All right.
even be me if I let you say that so clean. Come on, Corey. Not too much on the champs. Not too much.
They got me fired up on the All-Pro Jaffos, and they know that I'm there to just poke the bear, because I don't know how many times in division during games this season anyone's going to even go as far as poking him based on sometimes what we see in those games. But I will say this, Boston, there's not a group of guys tougher than those guys that came in, week out in the toughest division physically in the A7FL. when we got scored on by Huff and the Animals, I literally out loud said to those guys who all looked shocked, like, oh my God, this is what this is. And I said, welcome to the A7FL. None of them quit. They all kept fighting, and we got better and better each week to the point where I threw for 3 touchdowns against the mighty U, ran for a touchdown against BIC, and we only lost by 14 when we were by far the worst defense in the league. We only, except for obviously OTT and the pit bosses in the gold, but we only lost by 14 against that same Animals team in the last week of the season. And we went from losing by 60 to losing by 14. That's growth. That's integrity. That's what it means to be an actual man, to actually have integrity and actually have a heart and not be LeBron and join up with your best friends because it's easier to let other guys do the hard work. Sometimes you have to sit with a loss, and sometimes you have to be tough, and you have to be a man to actually show that you can do more than just watch other guys do it for you.
Not too much on the King. He's 40-something.
We have very different perceptions on this, Corey.
Very.
I love you. I love you.
You guys want me to join BIC so I can just take off on the BIC games that are going to be tough, because we know that Sterry Codrington is going to be starting quarterback the whole game.
Also, it's not just that.
No, it's not.
Me and Rob get a lot of shit for defending our friend who we think is actually very talented at the position of quarterback. We want you to be in positions where you could succeed, where, there are offensive linemen and wide receivers.
Right. And
I think anywhere I go is going to give me more time than the 1.2 seconds. No disrespect to my guys in Boston, but the 1.2 seconds has taught me how to get rid of the ball lightning quick. And we're going to parlay that into, if I get 2 seconds, it's going to feel like forever. I'm going to feel like Scooter back there with that offensive line. Shout outs to Kenny Mack.
I kind of look at it like this.
Wank.
If we were to ask Sterry Codrington, we keep bringing him up because, again, Sterry, one of the top quarterbacks in this league. We keep bringing him up because
He completed
he's that
70% of his passes last year.
Yeah, the guy was phenomenal. Like that's why we keep bringing him up. He has a great mind. He knows the game. He gets it. He just gets it. Terry would sit here and agree that you're a pretty good quarterback, Corey, and you just need a team around you. And I'm tired of seeing you.
Well, it's not going to be BIC, guys. It's not going to be BIC. And shout outs to BIC. I can't wait to play against them and also watch them go deep into the playoffs. But you guys really want to know who it is?
Sure.
We've been talking about this for 10 minutes.
Nice.
So I went on my rant to defend my Boston guys.
Which is fair.
So go ahead.
But
And since this is a video pod, boom, baby.
what?
They don't even
No.
see that.
They don't. But
Boom,
Corey,
baby.
You are going back.
That's
to
right.
the East
Corey
Orange
Hammond
Renegades.
is teaming up with some of the most dynamic players in the A7FL to rejoin the East Orange Renegades for the 2024 season. And guys, I'm really excited to also announce that Rookie of the Year candidate and runner-up, one of the standouts that I loved playing with and showed just as much toughness, playing hurt in all of our last final 3 games after
no
really
way.
hurting his
No way. Goose.
Hell yeah.
Xavier Vinny
Who is
Goose
that?
will be joining
Goose?
Maverick as a Renegade this season, A7FL East.
Wow.
We're on
Hold
notice.
on
We
now.
got Dondre Haynes. We got Greek Beast. We got Goose. We got a whole bunch of those athletic tight end guys. And if I have learned anything in watching good A7FL teams play, we will be trying to recruit my friend and good quarterback in his own right, Kenneth Stewart, to share some time with me. Not 100% yet. I'm still working on it.
Okay.
And
Reaching
we're
out,
going
okay.
to, sometimes, Snow Tribe, Corey Hammond is going to have his team run the ball to make sure that we
Oh, wow.
are as successful
Well,
as we can be as the Renegades.
The saving grace for the Renegades last year was their running game. They had Khalil Green and Mike Liberty, who played with the Hawks prior to last season.
Right.
If they return, that's a big.
Yeah, I got
those are some
some
big
work to
weapons
do
for
there,
you.
guys. I gotta fight for whatever this magnetism to Richie Augusto, who has zero football IQ, zero talent, and is constantly making people upset with him.
But he has
But,
a relationship which in this league is very important. You know what I'm saying?
guys,
The
you know how
relationship-
far the Cerebral Bombers ESCO goes, and I think I can maybe work on Liberty, but we'll see. Free agency is still open, and the Renegades now, they have me to chirp it, guys.
So can me ask you a question? Where does that put CP3? Where does that leave
I
him?
was about to ask that same question.
I haven't
Please,
talked to
remind
CP, and I don't, from what I gather, talking to Real, the Haynes brother that runs, Dondre's older brother, Real
Right.
Haynes.
Mhm.
It's not that it's not that there's anything wrong with CP, but I just don't think that he's a fit for where Renegades are moving towards. But you guys both know that Corey Price is cool with me, and the last time we were on the same roster playing quarterback at the same time, Rob, you were there. It was my best season. Now I won't have
We did
Big Rob
magic. We
Fabian
did
and
magic
Big
that
Fern,
season.
but I don't know specifically anything with CP3.
You
But
threw him a
I am
touchdown. What the
What?
hell? You threw him a touchdown.
in that playoff game. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you
that,
threw
and
a
that was fun.
touchdown.
That was cool. I thought that
Yeah.
was cool. I was a little upset with Ron Clark's defense that year, giving up 55 when we scored 40. I threw for
Ron.
500 yards that game, Rob, against the Immortals defense. I
Ron, you
never
got
played
24
better
hours
in
to
my life.
respond, Ron. You got 24 hours to respond, Ron.
Man, he was chasing Gerald Bell, who outweighs him by 150, and he couldn't catch him. Remember that play?
Well, yeah, I mean, that was the come out party for Gerald Bell. Nobody even knew what to expect from
He
that
choke
man.
slammed me on that post corner I completed to Troy on the left sideline, right? In the first quarter. I still have the scar on my neck. You guys can see it on the video, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can see it. But this leads us into our next segment here on the show, because we were talking about where CP3 might go, or what might come of the rest of the Renegades. It's time for our hot take segment. And Rob, you had one loaded up in the chamber.
Yeah.
You wanted to get out there. So.
I did, and I do. And this wouldn't be the 3-on-1 if I wasn't giving takes like this and making a whole division upset with me, no matter how nice I spoke about them in the beginning of the show, right? That doesn't matter. But
you're gonna trash Ohio?
No, I
That
got
was the first half of the show.
They have to be good for me to trash them. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't waste
fair.
my time.
That's
Yeah.
fair. So whoever's about to get trashed, just know that it is also a level of respect, I guess.
Oh no. There's a lot of respect. There's a lot.
Shout
of
outs
respect.
to Ohio that is basically still in the dumpster after their Final Four game.
See, here's the thing. I had a lot of conversations with a lot of people, and again, the excitement of that 2023 championship. Man, I can't sit here and say I watched a better championship, and I've been involved in a few of them. That was one of the best championships I've ever been a part of, right? When it was all said and done, the excitement wore off, and we got to analyzing like actual analysts and football players. I realized something. Though the Insomniacs, and again, no matter what I say here, it doesn't take your championship away, so being offended makes no sense to me, but though the Insomniacs won the championship, I still don't think they played anyone. And I was just sitting back thinking, and I was like, maybe that's why they were losing for the better part of 95% of that game. Because again, at the end of the day, what matters is they won. They're the champions. Again, no one can take that from them. But when I started to think about it, I'm like, well, they were losing about 95% of that game. They really won at the very end of that game, tail end. And from some, I wouldn't even say phenomenal performances, but some more miracle plays. Like we have to attribute luck is a part of the game. We know that. The way the ball falls, the way the wind hits it, the way someone tips it, it's a part of the game. We've been
and who knows more about luck than people in Vegas, right?
Right. And it was just in the stars for those guys to win. I feel that. But when I really look back, I see why they struggled so bad against the Nightcrawlers, who, in my opinion, wasn't actually the best team in A7FL.
Oh, hold on. So what you're saying is, I was with you because I actually had this conversation with them not too long. I was with you when, so you don't even.
No, the reason why. Okay, that day the Nightcrawlers were better than the Insomniacs. I don't know if we lost Corey. Did we lose Corey? Or did you lose me?
I think his internet froze for a second.
Okay, but are we freezing or do you want to?
No, you can keep going.
Okay, the Nightcrawlers were the better team. They made it. So they were the better team in general, right? But in all honesty, the best in the league didn't make it.
Would
And
you
that's
say
what-
the three? Would you go as far to say the three best teams in the league knocked each other out?
No. Because I do think Insomniacs are in the top three.
So
of the three
if we
best.
did the top seven right now,
Ooh, ooh.
and you had to do the top three,
Top three?
yeah, 3-1.
People are gonna be pissed.
3-1.
Insomniacs, Nightcrawlers, Watchmen. But if the Watchmen no longer exist, the U.
So you have the U above BIC.
They beat them twice. They bumped the BIC off.
That's fair. That's fair.
And that's they got to BIC got to get it back in blood. You feel me? Regardless of what's going on over there, they got to get it back in blood. Insomniacs, regardless of who they played, are still in my top three. They're number one to me. They're still number one. But are they still number one if they have to face the same gauntlet BIC and the U and the Watchmen have to? They're not going through that. They're not going through week in and week out. And even though they didn't go through that, they faced, out of every team that was in the playoffs, the Nightcrawlers were the least experienced A7FL team, which then created the best possible matchup for both of those teams in the championship. Because at the end of the day, for all my boxing fans, styles make fights. And in the A7FL, that's what it's about. That's why BIC can beat the Watchmen, but the Watchmen can beat the U, and the U can beat BIC. Styles make fights.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
It feels very much like the featherweight division in MMA or the heavyweight division in boxing. There are these certain pillars. Or if you go back into the 80s, if you're a combat, I'll throw $1 in the bucket, but you talk about the four kings of boxing in that period of time. Hagler, Hearns, Ray Leonard, and you had the Hands of Stone. And when you had Roberto Duran. And you had those four teams, each guy could beat one of the other three, but may not have been able to beat all three. And I think we're in that situation in the Northeast. And that, my hot take is, unless certain things pan out, I think we're going to get the exact same Final Four. I feel I'm 85% certain, unless something fucking nuts happens. I feel like we get the same Final Four, but I don't think we get the same championship. I think Logo Davis going to the Flag League if he's not full-time, if he's not playing with the A7. And Corey, if you are joining us back again, I think we got you.
Bagway also joined an Arena League as well. Did he not, or a flag team?
I believe he's on one of the flag teams, but I'm not 100% certain on that.
Okay.
But Corey, what you missed was, I want your take on what Rob said about, because you're dealing with power outages here in the Northeast while we're recording this.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thunder and lightning and 90-mile-an-hour winds, which, by the way, Vegas, that's actually severe weather, not 45 degrees and a light breeze. So Rob, let me just get this straight. So you're saying that even the night crawlers were not comp, and that the Insomniacs are sitting here today, champions of the entire league, completely untested?
When you frame it in the sense that excuse me, oh man, that the Insomniacs weren't, I mean, the night crawlers weren't comp, that's not facts at all. What I said was, the Nightcrawlers were the least experienced in the A7FL, correct? Along with the Insomniacs, who, again, those two teams been in the A7FL for the least amount of time, which made for their championship matchup, it made it a perfect championship matchup because, hey, we're just going to play how we know how to play football. I'm not saying that there wasn't strategy involved, but listen, I talked to those guys at the field. The Nightcrawlers, unfortunately, and again, these aren't excuses that they made. This is when I was, digging for information. Why was this going on? Why was that going on? Well, the Nightcrawlers came there with no corners. And then you think about all the plays that you saw Logo Davis playing defense, and these guys are playing both sides. You're in a championship game, miles away from home. How is your star receiver, your star everything at that point, he's the one playing corner? And
no disrespect to Mark Bagway. He was getting smoked because he was playing both sides of the ball, having to run miles
and you gotta
to get
ask
away
yourself,
from.
Now, the experience a BIC or a Watchman team has is they would have never allowed something like that to happen, in the sense of having one player play both sides in a championship game against top competition like the Insomniacs. The Insomniacs weren't no joke. Those were the best players in Vegas put together on that team, who were not on the same team the year before.
Some of them weren't even in the league.
Some of them weren't in the league. With Scooter, as big as he is, with those monsters at the offensive line, come on, you can't take chances. But the Nightcrawlers, lacking that experience, took those chances. Yes, listen, you can watch that game, Corey, Matt, even the guys that were in Vegas. On the other side of the ball, when we had conversations, I told everyone exactly how that game was going to go. I was 100% right until the bald head legend grabbed 2 interceptions out of thin air and did what he did with them. And the team, rallied back and were able to win at the very end of the game. And again, phenomenal game. Still,
so you were right. until you were wrong. And just to be clear, I was right because I picked the Insomniacs to win, even though I was wrong most of the time. But if I'm at the end right, then I'm always going to say that was right. Just like when Derek typed Corey is right on the chat for the Jaffos. But I feel like I'm in some kind of weird twilight zone because was it a dream that at 4 a.m. that I'm talking about A7FL Nevada playing devil's advocate about the conversation about the Insomniacs, which I didn't even believe myself because I think that I respect the Nightcrawlers. They beat the Watchmen. Watchmen, a really great team. But you're saying, and you're the devil's advocate himself. Then it's you.
Because what it is the Watchmen. Listen, the Watchmen were beat up. The Watchmen had to play in the toughest division. I'm just saying, I don't think the Insomniacs make it to the championship as clean if they have to deal with Northeast competition week in, week out. Where teams
what's
like the
funny is when talking and shout outs to the All Pro Jaffos. They do a great podcast. Check them out when you get a chance. After you obviously listen to ours first. But talking with 4 Insomniacs guys arguing with me because it takes that many Vegas guys to even have a chance against Shitboy Corey Hammond in a battle of words and they really still lost, which was amazing. They needed Josh to come to their defense because I was too offensive by asking them questions they couldn't answer. And they were very similar to your points, but I almost can't believe that we're really they are the champions, Rob. So what are you saying?
I'm not taking that
what
away.
They said, what they're saying is when I asked them the same question, I asked Munchie, right? And I'll do my Munchie impersonation. And shout out to Kenny Mack, who I think was the only one among Coach James, Munchie, and their new guy, Denzel Daniels. And shout outs to him. He's wearing the Rip Hamilton mask out there making plays. But he called out RTU, like RTU. No disrespect, my guy. You do great media. But he called out RTU like he wanted to go up against him in corner, like RTU has this track record of being a shutdown guy. Check the tape. Love you, Keith. But copious amounts of disrespect too. But Munchie was brushing it off, going like this. This was Munchie. Corey, you don't understand. My friends are just better. And I already talked about how that mentality, that LeBron, I got to team up with other guys.
Oh, my God. Leave LeBron out of this.
Good.
Lord have mercy.
It's the Heat all over it again. But anyway, that's what these guys grew up on. They, Rob, we grew up seeing Michael Jordan lose to the bad boy Pistons and go right back at him, right? We saw Kobe Bryant say, Shaq, it's my team, and not go join up. This group of people saw LeBron say, I can't do it by myself, right? But anyway, Munchie says that their offensive line, their skill players, their talent guys are so much far and away better than BIC that they're just better.
Okay.
They're not worried about them at all. That they're going to boat race the entire league.
No. Okay, stop right there. That's my problem with the fact that the Insomniacs played the Nightcrawlers instead of playing a BIC or even the Watchmen. That's my problem. Because all they got from the Nightcrawlers was more of flag-style football, which again gave us is that not the highest scoring championship we've had to date?
Well, what I was trying to explain to them is that...
Hold on. Can we fact
check
that?
Go ahead.
Is that not?
No, it was.
It was. Why was that the highest scoring? When we've had teams we consider better playing in the chip. It was the highest scoring because they were playing a style of football that the A7FL doesn't necessarily play, which is okay because it might be time for a change, right? High-powered, high-flying, long passes, Mosses, head taps, all that. It's beautiful work. With a little bit of running from RTC, it's beautiful. But it's more flag than it is A7FL. Right. If it's an A7FL style game, and the Nightcrawlers are up the way they're up, you don't think people are chewing the clock? You don't think there's a different mindset going on? I'm just telling you from being in these games and having to play teams like that. You remember when the Immortals first came in the league? They were a flag team, right?
Yep. How'd that go for them? They thought that they were going to come in the league first year, win a chip, dip out, right?
We beat shit down the Immortals' leg when they first came into the league because they were a flag team. They were nice. They had great plays. Guys was catching. But once Once that phenomenal quarterback, I won't say his name because he hurts me so much. Once he figured it out and understood you have to run, you have to have running backs. You have to. Once he figured it out, bro, they were almost unstoppable. They were almost unstoppable.
Only
And
won one chip still, too. Great team, one of the greatest of all time. Had the best defensive line, best offensive line, best
and
field
they had
position.
it. They had a great
Matt Riddick
run.
scored how many touchdowns that year? 60?
Oh, he went crazy. Matt Riddick is just.
But
Again,
that's what I was talking
league.
about with these guys, because I was saying, and this was where I framed the conversation. Now, I'm still going to argue with you, Rob, but let me just give you what you missed. I was talking about that, not that that Tyree McCants and Deontay Henderson and at times some of the other guys on the Nightcrawlers, not that they couldn't be physical, but that in the A7, that's not a physical football team. So what I was asking is the Insomniacs, what happens when they play the physical football team? And you know what I got? This is what I got. Ready? Boy, you just don't understand. We're just better. And what I think that I want to be made clear on my end, because let's also just clarify. Insomniacs have one of the best offensive lines, if not the best offensive line in the A7FL, right?
And it's the reason they won. If I'm being completely honest,
their defensive line, their defensive line is not like slouchy, right? We can say the level of physicality of their defensive line based on their competition that they face is something that we can talk about. But
No.
I voted for A.J. McQuaig for Defensive Player of the Year.
And I don't agree with that take. I think that was horrible. Who did he play against to be Defensive Player of the Year?
26 sacks, whether it's in a Vegas division, whether it's playing in the Mountain West, whatever.
Don't do that. That's why Trey Baskerville won it, because you're in a northeast,
and that group of wide receivers,
you're
right?
in a northeast. Okay, the receivers, but you're in a northeast where there are linemen.
I moved off that point. I'm not going to die on that hill.
Okay, good.
I'm not going to die on that hill. But the receivers that they had, the running backs that they had, and now they add Devontae Carter, obviously shown in the fall that he is a monster at running back. That we, thank God the Nightcrawlers didn't have to see that, two-headed monster. But I would argue that RTC right now, based on overall, production, not the career, right? Courage is the GOAT, career-wise, but he's kind of taken a step back as far as production. RTC is the best running back in the league based on production.
No.
Now they add that.
No. The Insomniacs offensive line has the best running game in the league. Let's correct. RTC's not bad, but without a line, RTC looks like he did when he came to Jersey with the Force. Let's not forget.
And that was what I told those guys. That they got to get on the phone with RTC, because if they think physical football is played out there by the Nightcrawlers and by the Sin City Chaos, who was a collection of Amazon workers, sanitation engineers, and an unemployed.
I'm going to expose something. When during that Ohio game, when everybody flew out to Ohio, drove to Ohio, whatever they did, right? You know what I suggested, right? I suggested the games get crossed.
Me too.
You know why they
who said absolutely not to that?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Everyone from Vegas.
Okay.
They did not want that.
Because guess what? How crazy do you look hosting a championship in Vegas with no Vegas teams in it? Yeah, that's insane. But personally,
it was more about geography. But all right, we're gonna.
Let's
go. How about this? Let's just end it in this way, because this was another thing that we talked about, and you just mentioned it, Rob. And I apologize for once again, being Corey Hammond on the show, Matt. So I apologize. But I'll say my take at the end of this, and I'll get flack for it. But let me just ask you, Rob. 2023 Insomniacs as constituted, 2023 Northeast Division as constituted. What's the record after the regular season that the Insomniacs walk out based on your assessment of who they are and how they would fare against the toughness that they have not yet faced?
And they would play 8 games?
Let's say that they play all the teams except for the Boston Omegas, because, you guys like me.
So 8 games.
Sure.
Yeah.
They play BIC, you, Watchmen, Renegades, Snow Tribe, Buzz, and Animals. What's their record?
BIC, you, Watchmen, Tribe, and Animals. They're playing 5 games.
And Renegades and Buzz, right? So they're playing the 8 games. They're playing the 8 teams.
They're gonna go at best 6-2, at worst 5-3.
Who do they lose to?
They're guaranteed to lose to BIC. BIC would not lose to them in Jersey anyway. I cannot now. The 6-2 is a toss up between the U and the Watchmen. I think, again, I'm going to get slack for this. I think the Insomniacs are better than the U. Sorry, I do, because the way those offensive linemen were moving, you feel me? Honestly, I take it back. 7-1, and worst record they could have is just by losing to all 3 of the big teams. 7-1.
You think that they beat the Watchmen head to head, but they would have lost to the BIC?
Yes.
Well, this is what I would say. I think that based on what we saw from BIC, they can take it for what they want, right? Last year, they did not come to the games that they needed to show up at with the level of roster that they promised us, and that's on them, and they should eat that because they should have repeat, or at least they should have been in the Final Four instead of the Watchmen, because they beat the Watchmen. And the only thing standing in their way was a U team that was playing with revenge, and those guys didn't come with the same level of energy that the U did, and the U was worse than BIC, but that doesn't always mean that you win in football because you got the better roster, Munchie.
Right.
But let me tell you this, Rob. As much as I'm talking shit, and I talked shit all, whatever Sunday night, Monday morning, it went into Tuesday, it felt like it was so long. I think that the Insomniacs likely go undefeated, and their most physical, their biggest test would be in the heated rivalry that is the Baltimore Watchmen, because of how much hatred is there, just because of the blind fury that they talk trash to each other on the little Facebook shows that try to copy us. But Rob, that collection of talent cannot be denied. And we saw it in person, and we saw it week in, week out when we were watching the games of the week out there in Vegas. The Insomniacs have the offensive line. They have the offensive skill positions. I think that they could go undefeated, and it's only because that BIC team that we wanted to exist, unfortunately, when it mattered, did not exist.
I can agree with that. But, being objective with it, it's like, well, would that BIC show up? Would the BIC we need show up? And that's BIC's fault. If that BIC shows up that's supposed to show up, I don't think the Insomniacs stand a chance. And that's even me knowing that Matt Kenny, he's the best lineman in the league right now. I don't see any better.
Oos is either 2 or 5, or 2 to 5.
Oos is right next to him. Oos is right next to him. I'm not taking away from any of those guys. I think that front is the reason why the Insomniacs are probably going to be good for a long time. If one of those guys go missing, then we have a different conversation. That's why I don't really want to talk about
when we were missing Big Fern, right?
Right. Remember that hell? That was hell.
I remember it vividly. It's a nightmare that I have recurring. 40-0. Matt Riddick intercepting passes because he's a ghost, and I couldn't even freaking see him because Gerald Bell was choking me and Courage at the same time with each hand. But this is what I'll say. That being said, and we're mentioning the BIC team that was promised and didn't deliver on the promises that we were talking about them at this exact same time last year, right? It basically feels like a year ago today, we were saying that BIC wasn't going to lose because they're them. Guess what, Insomniacs? You're them now. You climb the mountain, you're up there. That air's thin, and it's tough to breathe when every single week you're going to be playing your Super Bowl. Now, let's be honest.
Honestly.
Stick with it has proven time in and time out that they don't have it yet, right? And we'll get there when we talk about Stick with it when we go to the top 10. And I keep watching Jeremy Geary, and I see all the things that I wish I was as quarterback. He's good, and they just need to fix a couple of things, and we'll see. But I will warn the Insomniacs this: you hear what we're saying about BIC? Ask RTC how good they are in person, right?
Honestly,
it does not matter if you think and say on the All-Pro Jaffos, Munchie, even after having 4 touchdowns against the second-best team in your division that day, that you're better. Football is not played on paper with the rosters, and then that's how we decide the teams. As much as you want it to be LeBron generation, that's not how it's played.
Oh my goodness, you hate LeBron, huh?
If you
hate him.
stay on top like Batman in
that's
Dark
pure
Knight
hate.
Rises, and I'm going to keep hammering this home.
That's pure hate.
The Insomniacs, if they want to
Skip
repeat,
Bayless shit.
if the
They won't
Insomniacs want to
repeat.
repeat, guys, and you
They
should make
won't.
fun of me all you want because I deserve it. But if the
They won't.
Insomniacs want to repeat, they cannot let the victory defeat them. If they are not still as hungry as they were last year to keep
They're
winning,
not. They're not.
they're going to find out because they're fucking around right now, and it's cute, and it's fun, and they're beating teams by a lot, and they don't have a
Bro,
lot of competition. And
I
Rob,
can
you said that they haven't played
guarantee you-
anybody. We can talk
Listen,
about
I
that.
can guarantee you, I've been here a few times. The season after you win the championship is going to be the toughest season you've ever played. I remember playing the Bulldogs and taking a breath and saying, what the fuck is going on? I am a championship offensive lineman. What are these dudes doing? Bro, everyone's going to come out and give you their A game on the West Coast. And, okay, you're going to slide through the West Coast, but we can get to that later. Okay, all right. Yeah.
Is it realistically,
But that
Matt,
gets
going
us
to be they're going to have one more game next year that matters?
Who?
The Insomniacs.
You're
I mean, all the
asking?
games matter.
No, you're asking, are they going to, I know what you mean. You're asking
I
if they're
think
going
the
to have
championship.
which
Well,
championship?
hey,
The Vegas
let's hope that
championship?
they can keep
No,
the
I
momentum.
think
And Chris Vera talks about iron sharpens iron. If they keep slicing that sword through cotton candy over and over again, let's just hope it doesn't get gunked
They
up
won't
and it
be
can
ready.
keep its edge when they actually face
Yeah.
a real team.
They won't be ready, but we'll see. We'll see.
I think there's going to be more balance in Vegas next year, but I think the Insomniacs are still the team to beat by
Yeah.
a wide margin.
Well,
But-
don't sleep on sick with it with
Well, it's
all
not
of the
sleeping, it's
motivation that
just-
they have. And
I don't
don't sleep
care
on the
about no
sports
motivation.
actual structure and they actually practice.
Yeah,
No,
I
I'm
think,
not
I
gonna
think
die on
they're
the hill
I
where I'm
think
saying
they're
they're
a
winning.
year away from being stride for stride. But this gets me to the final thing that I want to talk about, because all off season so far, we've been hearing a lot of shit going on. And Rob, you kind of touched on it on one of the post-championship episodes.
Yeah.
But there's this theory going around. I won't call it a conspiracy theory, but over the last few seasons, we talked about it in the news about Jordan Davidson going from Ohio to Vegas, and we've seen some other players make that leap before. Trey Robinson started in the Northeast playing in Pennsylvania and has
Right.
been with Nevada ever since. There's a lot of rumors going around about a team, and there have been 3 teams I've heard about trying to make major plays in the Northeast. And what are you hearing? What's this theory going around, and what does it have to do with this upcoming season?
What I can say, because again, it's
It's there's stuff that's been
this stuff, right?
We can't report on things yet
Yeah,
because
it's not
it's not
official.
confirmed.
Yeah, it's not confirmed. But what I can say, what I did say, and what I'm gonna always warn about is, heavy is the head that wears the crown. The Insomniacs won the championship. The Nightcrawlers gave them a phenomenal game. If you're in the A7FL, what's your litmus? What's your litmus test? What are you looking at to see what the peak is in the A7FL? You're looking at that championship. So if you're looking at that championship and saying, "Wow, I got to deal with a guy like Scooter, RTC. I gotta get guys that can get around guys like Kenny Mack." And what good teams are going to do is they're going to recruit, and they're going to recruit guys that can beat the guys that you just showed us. You showed us your best. Great. Now we're literally going to handpick players that we know can beat your best. Because that's what Vegas did the year before, and that's what every team does every year before that. That's just the nature of the beast. I'm not going to say which team is doing it. I'm not going to say which team is not doing it. What I'm telling you right now is, if the name of your team has changed from, let's say it was Oceanside Panthers, and now it's New Jersey Panthers, I would be worried about that. I would be very nervous at what these people are doing. Why did they even change the name? Why is it more of a New Jersey thing than a city thing? I warned about it. It's dangerous. There's players that are moving chips around, bro. They're heavy hitters being put in certain positions.
Is it fair to say that if you were nominated or voted on in any of the major awards this year, you had a conversation with a couple of people from this team in question?
For sure. This team in question.
And let's just be clear: the Rawway Snow Tribe are known as the Rawway Snow Tribe. By the way, A7FL family.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. As long as you know that, but it's that, and then there's a very popular quarterback who, I don't know, he might be going home, wherever home is. Where
That's right, Corey Hammond to the Renegades 2024.
Oh,
Let's go.
Is home where the heart is, or is home where the chips are? I'm going to leave that to you guys to answer. I can't answer that for you, but what I'm telling you right now is.
Oh, you're not talking about me?
No, but if Munchie was on the show and talking in a relaxed tone as if there was nothing to worry about, well, Munchie has a lot to worry about, because while he thinks it's a cakewalk, everybody else, and again, I don't think those guys back then last year could have beat those three top teams in New Jersey, because we're obviously talking about one of them, right? Those three top teams in New Jersey, I think would have been able to either.
Baltimore. Yep.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. The three top teams in the Northeast, and I'm not talking about Nightcrawlers because they got spanked, right? Quote unquote. Those three teams in the Northeast, those guys were licking their chops to come to the Insomniacs because they saw things that the Insomniacs do, and they knew, how to game plan around it. But guys weren't serious, and let's
do this. Is there any names that you feel comfortable right now, Rob? Because the three of us know, and everybody listening, we love you, but you don't know. You could figure it out. Maybe you can do your own work. Any names?
Isaac Gomez, to be honest.
So no name. So he said a name, and then everybody was like,
yeah, Isaac Gomez to be IC. That's all I can tell you right now. That's all I know.
And that's a big move. That's
is.
a big.
I mean, he does have the juice, right? He is a player.
I would have sent him to the Renegades.
We'll see how that.
I'm still of the ilk that Isaac, guys like Trey Cohen, why am I blanking on his name?
Kason Campbell.
Kason Campbell. Yes, Kason Campbell. Those guys should have took their butts to the Renegades or the Animals to bolster up that team with a bunch of youth and energy. But again, I'm not here to direct traffic. I'm just here to report.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. By the way, he's doing a promo for the Corey Hammond Renegades. If you want more than one reception a game, if you want more than one time to post your highlights to Facebook, Corey Hammond's going to throw the ball. Corey Hammond's going to complete the ball, and Corey Hammond's going to make your name a household name.
Corey Hammond
2024. This message is brought to you by the Marcellus Pack Money.
Oh,
really.
wait.
I wish.
That's one name. I know we didn't even talk about this, Matt. I forgot. Shame on whoever was responsible for stopping Pack Money from playing last season. Shame on you. And you know who you are. Go ahead, Matt.
Would you say that he's in play for this now? Because he did not. Yeah.
Pack's on the team.
He's on that team.
The thing that Matt's saying, Rob, is that Pack was denied access to playing with the team from his town that he should have played for, who he could have benefited playing for.
What a difference he would have made against the Nightcrawlers. Shame on whoever stopped that. You suck, and you cost the team a championship.
Shame on that person, too, for telling Big Mo after what he's been going through. And shout-outs to Big Mo.
Shout-outs to Big Mo, word. Word. Shout
Love
out
you,
to
Mo.
Big Mo.
And Big Mo got the okay from the commissioner and founder of the league, and then the
Right.
same person I think that we're talking about.
Same
We're not going to
person.
mention names.
Stop
Told him,
Big Mo.
no, it's not saying. I don't want you to play.
Fucking loser,
Here.
bro. Like, you suck. You stopped Big Mo from playing, and you cost your team a championship because you're an idiot. Shouts to you.
And I feel like that's a great way to end the first episode of the new season. We've gotten pretty much everyone pissed off at us, and if you want to say thank you, you can follow us on Facebook. We'll be coming soon to Instagram, but like, comment, and subscribe wherever podcasts are sold, or you can go to tinyurl.com/A7FLmerch. That's tinyurl.com/A7FLmerch and buy a shirt. We might have more shirts coming in soon or not. Shout out to Jess Hammond Tattoos, who does our t-shirt designs. But guys, we get to do this part again. I'm so excited. But for Big Rob Fabian, for Corey Hammond, I'm Matt Ryan. We'll be back in a week or two. As always, don't be an asshole.
Mouse Rye.
The preceding program was a production of Ember Media.